Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is I'm going to give some tips on how to build your stash relatively cheaply and possibly free. So let me get right on with it. Number one is one of the biggest ways that I was able to build my stash was through giveaways. And I was always very into entering giveaways before we moved out of the States, and won all sorts of things, things that I was looking for, that I wanted, that was always on my wish list, but didn't quite have the budget for it, so I would always look for giveaways for that. And I've won several things like Vitamix, that was a huge item on my wish list, and other things, won a grand prize trip to Napa Valley. And so anyway, that so once I started getting into crochet and really didn't have the budget for yarn and stuff like that, when we had some other more pressing things to go for as far as bills go, as far as budget goes. So I immediately thought of, hey, well, why not look for giveaways of yarn and see if there was anything like that. Being brand new to crochet, I didn't know if there was anything like that. So I did a search, and lo and behold, found quite a few on YouTube, and there are some on blogs as well. So if you just do a Google search for yarn giveaway, you'll find all sorts of different blogs and YouTubers that are doing yarn giveaways. Number two, clearance sales. For me, I make always a beeline for clearance racks when I go to any stores, and just to see what they're trying to get rid of, and you could get some really good bargains and deals that way. And so that goes for in stores. So regarding yarn, when you go to Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, always head for their clearance racks first, the clearance section, and see what they have. You never know what you might find in that regard. And so obviously Hobby Lobby has their yearly annual clearance, and then Joann and Michael's also have their clearances where they will just mark down in the yarn aisle. But then you also have the specific clearance sections in the store, different areas in the store that have a section specifically for clearance that have a mishmash of items that they're trying to get rid of in the store. So I always check there as well, because I have found yarn there. So, and then also obviously online for the shops like Premier, Hirschner's, any of the Lion brand, it's always best to get on their email list, so you'll know when they have the major sales and clearances, and is the best way to get yarn super cheap. For me, I personally like them. I usually go for, or wait for, like 60% off or more sales, and that's how I was able to get several of the chenille yarn that I really like from Lion brand earlier. I think was it this year? Yeah, really. I think like springtime. I can't remember when it was, like February, March. I think they had a huge sale, and it was like 60. I think it was a 60% off or more. I can't remember if it was 65 or something like that. That I got the yarn, the chenille yarn. It was the I keep forgetting the name of it, but it was a 4-weight chenille, and it was a bonus bundle, so it was a rather huge skein of the chenille, and I got several in different colors, and I got them at a great price. I think they were only like $3 or $4 for that skein, and I think it was like 7 ounces. I think that's how big it was. It was definitely more than 100 grams, which I think 100 grams is like 3.5 ounces. So I think it was double that. But yeah, so I got a huge deal on that one. And so anyway, personally for me, I usually wait for 60% off or more. Obviously, if you can't and you have a specific project you really need, then, you know, sometimes you may get, you know, 40% off or a little bit less than that. But yeah, if you time it right, if you wait, you can get some really, really awesome deals. So definitely, you know, get, like I said before, get on the email list so you know when they have the major sales and clearances, and just keep your eye out. Number 3, mill-ins. Yeah, I mean, it's not really a clearance sale, but I guess it is something I specifically look for as well. Mill-ins, then too, if you don't mind not having those skeins, not having a label, and sometimes it is a mystery because you don't really get to choose the color, but sometimes they do, depending on the site, they will change it to, or at least I think for the most part I have noticed that they break them up into acrylic, cotton, and chenille. So if you are, especially if you really like chenille and even cotton, those are, and you don't mind not knowing what colors you're going to get, then those are really great bargains. Like in next recently, specifically, I saw, it's been going on I've seen on several YouTubers channels where they showed off their haul for the cotton cake mill-ins, and it was through Hirschner's, I think. Yeah, so I definitely have that marked for when I'm able to have some spending money for yarn. I definitely will be getting some of that, the cake yarn, because that I've been wanting. That's been on my wish list like for a long time. The cake yarns that have like it is sort of a gradient colorway. Some of them, depending, but some of them are basically they're multicolored, and like I guess they would work out in stripes. But you know, like it would go from like a gray to a pink to a white, you know, something like that kind of a colorway, the cake. And that's what it looks like the outside of the cake is gray, and it slowly goes into, you know, a pink, and then a white, you know, and it kind of fades nicely. And those are like the yarn art, I think, or even the Hobie cakes. But yeah, either way, no matter the brand, those are the kind of cakes that I want, and they're like 2-weight or fingering weight. I can't remember which one exactly, and they've been on my wish list, and so they are a great deal. And the mill-ins, I think it was 2 cakes for, what was it? I think $14. So for $7 a cake, that's an absolutely awesome deal, because I know yarn art normally goes for, I think $20 for a cake of yarn art, or no, actually not 20. I think it was like, I've seen them for like 12 and up. So, and then of course, obviously, Hobie cotton cakes are, I think, well more than that. I think they start out at like $20 a cake, unless they're on sale. But so for 2 of them for $14, that's a great deal. And I do know that from what some of the YouTubers have shown, that they are slightly less weight. Like I think the cakes are like normally 250. I can't remember if they're 250 grams or more. But in the mill-ins, they don't quite weigh up to 250 grams per cake, or something like that. So, but even still, even if it's just a little bit short, like say it's instead of 250 grams, it's only 200 grams, that's still a good deal for $7 per cake. Yeah, so that is number 3, mill-ins. Number 4, thrift stores. Obviously, you know, up to you, personal preference. If you don't mind not knowing where it came from, it possibly may smell of cigarette smoke or whatever. So it all depends on whether or not the stores bag them, like they put them in a bag and seal it, or they are not in bags. So then you can kind of get a chance to really see for yourself the condition the yarn is in. but I know many have found great deals on yarn at thrift stores. So definitely an option. Number 5, Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. That is a great place to find yarn if you happen to be on Facebook, obviously. I have not been able to find any, because for some reason, I guess maybe here in the Bahamas, there aren't really a whole lot of fiber artists. And then of course, with only Red Heart Super Saver being available here, really not much of an option for me to find anything on my Marketplace. I mean, I did see someone sell one time quite a few skeins of Red Heart Super Saver, and that's not my preference. I don't care for that. So unfortunately for me, Facebook Marketplace does not work for me here. So although I can use Facebook Marketplace to find yarn from people who are willing to ship, so that is an option for me, I guess, in that sense. But as far as locally, without having to pay shipping fees and stuff, that won't quite work for me. And plus, then I got duty on top of that. So anything I bring in from the States, I gotta add duty on top of that. And for yarn here, it's 45% duty. So yeah, and so that's why too, I kind of wait for the big discounts, like 65% off, or I wait for Hobby Lobby's annual clearance sale. And I have a friend of mine, Pam of Be Creative Crafts. Hey Pam, she will do the shopping for me and ship it to me. So yeah. Number 6. Oh, actually, before I go to that, I want to give a PSA for Marketplace. If it's not local, I guess that really applies to when I'm going into destash groups right now. So I guess number 6, destash groups, and on Facebook too. So you have to be on Facebook, but there are quite a few destash groups. I will actually link them in the description so you can search them up for yourself and join them if you aren't already a member of them. And so most of those are to be shipped, unless you happen to be local to them and they allow a local pickup. But for that, you want just a warning for those of you that don't know. If you're going to pay via PayPal, which you should use PayPal, I'm not sure of any other good payment options that offer buyer protection. PayPal offers buyer protection if you pay via PayPal and use goods and services. That is the only way you will have protection if anything goes wrong with it. If the sender was a scammer and they don't send a package, you have the ability to file a claim and get your money back. If you send payment via friends and family, which I've seen some sellers do request, so that way they don't have any fees to have to pay, because the seller has to pay some kind of like a merchant fee, or they actually have to pay the 3% fee for, it's kind of like a payment processing fee. And so sellers trying to avoid that fee will request the buyer to pay via friends and family. When you go with that method, you have no recourse. If the package doesn't show up, if the person was a scammer, you have no way to get your money back. So just a warning there, to always stick with goods and services. That is the only way you'll get protected. I know as far as the last time I checked, Zelle does not offer any kind of protection, buyer protection. So if you pay via Zelle, the same thing, you have no way to get your money back. I'm not sure about Venmo or any other payment methods. Cash App, I'm pretty sure, does not have that option, unless the person you're Cash Apping unless it's a business account. I think. So don't quote me on that, as I know for a fact for PayPal, the only way to get Buyer protection is through goods and services method, not friends and family. As far as all the others, you'll have to do research yourself to make sure that you're protected if anything goes wrong with the transaction. So just a fair warning there. I just had to make that. And so yeah, so these stash groups, like I said, they're the one I can think of off the top of my head. I think it's called Real Destash, or a Real Destash group, something like that. There's that one, and there's a few others. You can just do a search, maybe do a search on Facebook, Yarn Destash group, and a list should pop up that you can join. And so there's plenty of great deals on there. A lot of it is like higher end yarn, and many of them are actually not selling them at a discount or a very minute discount, just a dollar or two under the retail value. But you can find some really good deals. You just have to, I guess, constantly check and keep an eye out for that. There are the really good deals in there, just a little bit not as common. But it's still a great way, a great place to be a member of and keep your eye out for the good deals, because there are just not as common. And yeah, because recently today I actually just saw someone was selling their yarn stash at 50% off, and they were selling the yarns they were selling were higher end yarns at 50% off. They were like $7 a skein for, it was 80% superwash merino, 20% bamboo, and at $7 a skein for that, that's a really good deal, really good deal. So but from what I've seen, majority of the times they do sell them for just a dollar or two retail, under retail. And then there are some you have to keep an eye out. There are some that I have seen, many actually, that wait for the Hobby Lobby clearance sales. They buy up a lot of the yarn and then they sell them in these destash groups for near retail. I've seen quite a few sellers, like the cotton, like say the sugar wheel cotton. I think they normally go for, I can't remember now the price. Normal retail was maybe say for instance $5.99, and they sell them for $5 a skein, and they only paid like maybe $1 or $2 per skein. You can tell if you look at the pictures, you can tell that the stickers were peeled off the labels. The clearance stickers were peeled off. You can just tell, you can see it. And so I mean, if you don't mind them being close to retail value, and then and it's a color and the yarn that you really needed and wanted, then hey, obviously that's your prerogative. But if you're really looking for the good deals, yeah, you can keep an eye out for those. For the Hobby Lobby, you can tell by looking at the label. You can tell if the clearance stickers were removed. So that's up to you. But so anyway, on to the next one, number 7. Poshmark and Mercari. I think that's how you pronounce it. Actually, I'm not quite too sure about Poshmark, but I'm pretty sure Mercari, I've seen people sell yarn there. So I'm not sure about Poshmark, but that just thought came to me, being one of those reseller platforms. If that is an option, I don't really go onto Poshmark very much, and I just happen to know about Mercari because I've seen some of the YouTubers selling their stash on there. So I just thought, hey, if you guys are a regular shopper of Poshmark, then I'm sure you'll know. And if you're not, you can go there and check to see if there are anybody selling their stash off of there. So those are other options to see. I'm not quite sure about the prices, how good of a deal you'll get on there, but it's just an option. So I'm just throwing it out there for you, for a place to check for possible good bargains and deals on yarn. So number 8, garage sales. And that's similar to like the thrift stores, but although better than thrift stores, because garage sales, then the sellers right there, you can ask them if the yarn how it's been stored, if it's in a pet friendly home, or you know what I mean, and you can really gauge better on the conditions of the yarn and the conditions that they were stored in and stuff. So yeah, and obviously too, garage sales are quite a bit hit and miss, unless you happen to see listings of garage sales with photos just showing you what is there for sale, because obviously garage sales, you won't know what's there and what's available until you get to the house. So, but it's a possibility. If you already go garage sailing on a regular basis, then obviously I'm sure that you already know you can keep an eye out for yarn. But just another option, another place. And my last one, number 9, check your local buy nothing, free cycle, Craigslist even, and trash nothing groups. I haven't really been able to take advantage of that since I moved away from the States, but free cycle back in the day, man, years ago, used to be, at least what I knew of free cycle way back when, was used to be a Yahoo group when Yahoo had Yahoo groups, and it was strictly a like email group list, and you would get emails when someone was offering up stuff for free. And that's actually how I got my huge box of yarn, along with knitting looms, years ago. And that was well before I got into crochet. I used knitting looms briefly, made some preemie hats to donate, and then I don't know what happened. I just stopped, and then I think it just sat for quite some time. And but anyway, that's how I got a huge box of yarn way back when, with the knitting looms. So that was a great haul there. So yeah, so but I know nowadays, I think there are apps for free cycle groups, buy nothing, trash nothing groups, I think. And I thought of Craigslist too, I think, because I know Craigslist has a free section, so you just never know. It's definitely a place to check out to see if you might find any good deals. I mean, yarn for free, right? So yeah, so obviously this last one, then these are ways to get yarn for free, besides giveaways. So everything else obviously is, you still have to pay to get the yarn, but obviously the difference too is between used and new. So obviously personal preference, if you don't care for used yarn at all, then all the other options I gave are great, still great deals. Obviously the first two, the clearance sales and the giveaways and the mill ends. Everything else is pretty much secondhand yarn. So but yeah, I hope that has been a helpful list for you on ways to build your stash. So for those of us that are a bit more limited on funds and have a tight budget, these are great options. Obviously too, if you're willing to wait for the sales and stuff, then these are definitely great ways to build your stash cheaply, you know. But obviously sometimes some of the choices are limited, because sometimes the clearance yarn, only certain colors are available. But hey, it's still a great way to get some yarn and then just work with what you got, right? So if you have any other ideas or any other methods of building your yarn stash cheaply, put it in the comments so other people can learn other ways. It's all right. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Alrighty, bye.